Is it even possible to erect a building without getting the necessary approval from, the necessary authority or the authorities? Is it even possible for that to happen?
Somebody asks you, where are your documents for this building? Who gave you the go-ahead to start building? They have no answers. So the blame needs to be shared between the government and the people. And
it's rather unfortunate, and I think it's a sign of bad governance, or call it bad faith, on the part of these governors not to have responded to this freedom of information request. What SERAP is asking for is basically information. Basically, copies of the loan agreement that have given rise to the debt profile of each of the states, and the proof that those funds were spent in the interest of the public. Of course, you want to believe that these monies did not end up in private pockets. So the aim is to compel the states. By compel, I mean for the court to compel these governors, who of course naturally are statutorily accountable to the people of the state, to provide this information to SERAP. This is in tandem with the provisions of the Freedom of Information Act that allows an applicant to go to court to compel a public institution to provide information if the public institution falls in doing so. And as for the second part of the question, as to whether we've gone round the same court, we've not done it. And that is not the aim of this, of the Freedom of Information request or the suit. This does not in any way suggest that funds were embezzled. I would leave that to Nigerians or perhaps the anti-corruption agency. This is simply a request for information. And it's against the background of the information that we have. So, for instance, the Debt Management Office, which is the body statutorily empowered, among other things, to, of course, be the warehouse big data on the loans that Nigeria has taken, which includes, of course, subnationals like the state, has published details of the debt profile of Nigeria from the federal government and from the constituent states. The data is there. If the Debt Management Office has done that in keeping with the provisions of the Freedom of Information Act, it's commonsensical, and also in line with the Freedom of Information Act, that the state governments also publish details of the loans. And don't forget, these loans were taken at various times by the state government, and now those loans have been expended. So it is not for us to go to these states to find out how those loans have been spent. It is for the state government to account for having funds that been. And if perhaps some people have said that some of the sitting governors now did not take up those loans, but that is beside the point. Governors is a continuum. There are records that will show how the loans have been obtained till now as it's spent. It is really worrisome that Nigeria will owe so much, this state will owe so much, and no one is ready to give account for how those funds have been spent. The laws that we have, though not perfect, like every other democracy in the world, is not the problem. And I'm prefacing my answer with that. The challenge over the years, particularly since 1999 in the Fourth Republic, has been the willingness, call it political will, perhaps, of public officers, whether appointed or elected, to obey the laws that we have. And that itself defeats the purpose of the rule of law and further defeats democracy. We have various laws that compel transparency and accountability. There are many of them. For instance, the asset declaration mechanism in the Constitution is meant to bring forth accountability. But let's go to the freedom of expression provisions in the Constitution, Section 39, for instance, which is the ground up, provides that every citizen has that liberty to express him or herself. And that expression is a two-way thing. It means they can speak, that they share their opinions, and they can receive opinions, which is the foundation for the Freedom of Information Act that compels public institutions, including governors and the office of the governor, to provide information to the citizens proactively. And then secondly, upon request. Now let's go to budgetary allocation. The budgetary processes in every state is almost like what obtains at the federal level. The budget is made up of submission by the various ministries, departments, and agencies. They get eventually presented to the National Assembly, in this instance, to the State of Assembly by the governor. Then they become the appropriation bill. And this budget is supposed to be public. So it means citizens can follow line by line. They can follow what is capital expenditure. They can follow what is expenditure. There is also the Public Procurement Act that governs how everything is to be bought or procured. So there are various laws along each of these levels to ensure that government is accountable. We also have the processes of the Auditor General of the Federation, and which also is replicated across the states. The Auditor General of the States, who also audits state agencies to show what has gone in, what has gone out, paper trails that shows that these funds have been spent for public purposes. Again, the report is published annually. It shows where there are anomalies, and a lot of them are bound to the public space as well. You can get that from the website of the General Federation. So it is not because we don't have laws. It is not because the legal framework is not perfect. It is just the unwillingness of public institutions to obey the law, really. Mary, that is the problem. That is what we face.